Hey there, my name's Curtis Lucas and you're watching Empire Building. First, I want to start out by saying I was wrong.
Maybe I was wrong!
Looking over my last video, I had gone into some analysis around Bitcoin's price action and pointing out that we were coming up against Bitcoin's golden ratio as far as its retracement is concerned. So I'm just going to come clean on what I got wrong, how I got it wrong, and what I'm going to do about this moving forward. I thought this might share, again, some perspective because with the things that have been happening over the last couple of weeks have been both exciting and, let's be honest, somewhat terrifying. And I thought it might be worthwhile sort of recalibrating things and taking this opportunity to sort of reevaluate our mindsets as we look at this investment opportunity. Bitcoin and other cryptocurrencies, including the mining stocks, there has been no shortage of excitement. And to be honest, it's caught even me by surprise. So let's talk about that for just a moment. And I'm also going to be discussing what my plans are for this channel as time moves on. So as it stands right now, this is Bitcoin's price chart. We've retested that golden ratio and come right up against it and touched it ever so briefly. Now, the first time we did that was, I believe, a couple of weeks ago now, on August 23rd, which was a Sunday. So that's 2 full trading weeks ago. And we're right back up to the same level as we speak. Now, what did I get wrong was the Bitcoin mining stocks have been on an absolute tear this entire time. Having a look at Mara, the price on the 23rd dropped to somewhere around $35 per share. And while Bitcoin is now trading at the exact same price it was on that day, Mara is nearly a full $10 higher. That works out to a 28% gain, while Bitcoin traded sideways. This is not what I expected to see. And Marathon is hardly the top performer in this group. The one that has really shined is HUT. Over the same period, HUT 8 is up as much as 63 or 64%. Clearly, there's some kind of a revaluation or a shift occurring in these companies. How long is it going to last is anybody's guess. And I haven't even touched on all the craziness happening with some of these what are becoming meme stocks like support.com, which received a lot of attention on my own Discord over the last few weeks. And one trader in particular made $1 million in a single day trading this stock. Now, I was considering actually doing a sort of interview conversation with this trader to talk about that experience and what he's planning on doing. So if that kind of content is something that you'd be interested in, then leave a like for this video and comment down below. But from early August to the peak that we saw just a few days ago, that stock had risen 866%. This is beyond nuts at this point. And obviously, there have been a significant fall since then, but even calculating it from earlier that month to today is still 260% in gains. So my point here is, how do you keep your wits about you in this environment? And I have to admit that I myself have been struggling with this lately. And this is important because we're entering a phase where, at least personally, I feel like it's had an effect on our internal programming, especially if we've lived through this entire period. Anyone who was fortunate enough to enter into the space over the last couple of months is probably loving life right now. But they're not jaded by this experience, falling down from $65,000 all the way down to below $30,000. Something I can honestly say I did not anticipate, obviously. And now with this subsequent tear all the way back up, it's definitely been weighing on my mind a whole lot more than it was in the previous rally. So what I've been doing lately is turning back to my old routines where I focus on education. I focus on the knowledge, trying to further educate myself to understand more and more and more about this technology, where it's headed, and what its true potential is. And I'm not talking about the price. I'm talking about what its world impact could be someday. And if you found that you yourself have made a few bad trades over the last little while, then rest assured you're in good company.
Do you take the risk in January to say, oh, it's 3,000, it's been crashing for 2 years straight, now's a good time to buy? Everybody thinks they do that. The strategy seems simple. On its face, buy low, sell high. In practice, what you end up doing is a somewhat similar strategy called buy high, sell low, where what you do is when everybody gets excited, you buy some. Then it crashes, then you panic, then you sell it at the lowest price, and then you keep repeating that. How do I know? Done it. Right? Who hasn't? Okay, really, who hasn't?
This can happen to anybody. Even the greatest traders in the world can get caught on the wrong side of a trade. The question is, what do you do about it? How do you break out of that?
And the way is not to try to tell people what is the right choice, because you don't know what the right choice is. You think you do. I think I do. But if I start advising people and say, I think you should buy now or sell now or buy this or sell that, I'm going to be wrong on average more often than I'm right. And in the end, people are going to be very disappointed. What you need to do is help people make their own choices by educating them.
What I've come to realize and had to relearn was that the potential here is enormous. I am more convinced than ever. But the path from where we are now to where it will eventually lead, the extent of which none of us know. But even worse, the path to get there is even more hidden from our view. Black swan events and unexpected manipulations, these things will impact the price in the short term, and they are impossible to predict. I've had to painfully relearn this lesson myself. And it's certainly no more evident than when I look at things like my Ethereum validator, something that is physically locked away from my reach. I couldn't touch those funds even if I wanted to. Nobody can. Not until Ethereum engages smart contracts on the new Ethereum 2.0 blockchain, which for all I know could be as much as a year or two from now. Nobody really knows. But what this lesson has taught me is that it's not worth trying to time it. Even if you get it right once, twice, 3, maybe even 4 or 5 times, it doesn't matter. Maybe an entire year of perfect trades. The damage that it does to your mindset will lead you down a path of almost certain ruin, or at least resulting in you not making or earning as much as you would have otherwise. But if you're like me and you found yourself on the dark side for a brief period, that's okay. It's never too late to start making better choices. And if by chance you've been lucky enough to be enormously successful, like the trader I mentioned earlier in this video, it's also never too late to try to reprogram that behavior before it becomes a problem. Although I'll admit it's very hard to do that. And the reason why it's so hard to do that is that you have to abandon, it requires abandoning the practices that got you there in the first place. Those seeds are planted deep. But the reality is hindsight is always 20/20. And looking back makes it seem like it might actually be easy. But in practice, it's more like driving a car with the windshield completely blacked out and all you have are the rear view mirrors. Sooner or later, you're going to run into something. So it's for this reason that moving forward, I'm going to be shifting the focus of my channel. I'm going to be getting back to more of my roots. The reason why I started this channel in the first place was to discuss topics on empire building. Now, obviously, Bitcoin, cryptocurrencies, mining stocks, still a big part of that. But there are so many other topics I'd like to cover. And even within cryptocurrencies itself, there are a lot of other topics I'd really like to dive into, namely Ethereum. As many of you have probably noticed, Ethereum has been on an absolute tear the last couple of weeks. bringing it very near to its recent all-time high that we reached back in May. And I'll admit, I did not expect us to be all the way back up here so soon. Certainly not without at least some kind of more significant correction. Ethereum has maintained itself above the 21-day moving average the whole way up from the bottom. That is remarkable. So whether over the last couple of months you've been incredibly fortunate or not, I think it's time to take a breather, recenter yourself, and focus your attention on where you want to go. There's a lot of noise and chaos right now, so it's going to be difficult to focus. Bull markets have this effect, but I'm going to do my best to provide a somewhat stable foundation that you can use to anchor yourself during these turbulent times. So if you wouldn't mind sharing this video with anyone you think might find it helpful, and support the channel by leaving a like, and if you haven't already done so, subscribe. Well, that's all for this one. Now let's get back to empire building.